Momentum. Two passionate and busy moms sharing their quest to achieve entrepreneurial success.
Hi, it's Ariella Vaccarino
and Teresa Opstad.
and we're here from
Momentum.
our podcast on mompreneurs.
Yes, and today we are both so excited about our guest that we have today. And before we get to introduce her and talk about the wonderful Mariann Aalda, we want to kind of share with you a little bit.
You just introduced her.
No, I said her name.
Okay.
Introduction is everything she's done and why she's here.
We
But
haven't officially introduced her yet.
who sees her on the screen?
Yeah,
you know,
okay,
they know
that's
it's
true.
Mariann Aalda.
Do a reveal.
But it's, yeah, exactly. We should. Well, that's tips for next episode. As the curtains draw. But I wanted to share the reason that we've done it in this order because, you know, so far up to this point, all you've been hearing, our episodes have been Ariella and I.
Yeah.
And just recently we started interviewing some amazing women and their
last
stories.
week they would have seen.
No, hold on.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm getting to that right now. No, so far we've only been releasing our stuff, but we have interviewed about a dozen amazing moms
We
that
really
you
have. That's
will
true.
see
This I agree
their
with.
you will see their episodes releasing soon. But our very first episode was just released yesterday.
Okay, that's what I was talking about.
And, you know, in this process, we just realized we were interviewing another amazing mom that you're going to see in May for
April.
It's May 1st is the Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Yes.
And when we were interviewing her, we realized we're in the month of February. How do we not highlight an amazing woman for Black History Month? Yeah. So today we are closing out Black History Month with this amazing woman, which we are now going to introduce.
We're in awe of. But wait, I do want to say a couple things.
Yes.
You will notice, because as this is a journey,
yes,
that last week we were for the first time on Zoom video, but we probably look a lot better this week. And since we're kind of shoving in this episode as a special treat and an important episode, next week we're going to go back to our original
episode.
It'll be the second episode, and we won't look as good as we look today because we are on the journey and we're learning lighting and all this stuff. So you're kind of seeing a preview of what we're looking like in the future.
Because in recording process, Mariann is actually episode 25. So we're a little advanced at this point than we were on yesterday's episode that you saw, and next week's episode you'll see as well.
So we just want to get that all out of the way. And Mariann, you don't even have to listen to any of that. And
no. I feel like I should get into a DeLorean and kind of like, you know, get in on the time machine with you guys.
Yeah, I know, right.
Either that or take the red pill. I'm not sure.
We've brought you back in time.
Yeah. Well, you know, we're so new. We hadn't even thought of looking at the calendar and having episodes coincide with things that were going on.
Yeah.
So, and I think we're going to be really ready as the time goes, but you know, we didn't want to miss this opportunity.
And that's really the reason I want to explain all this, because this is a process and we are learning things and we do have to batch our recordings, but then we hadn't until this point really planned out when they would be released. So now we're more aware of those things. And for next year, I'm sure everything for the whole year will be planned out exactly to the date.
Right, like our gift giving episode was like 6 weeks after Christmas.
Yes.
So I mean, it's like we're gonna have it together, but we don't have it together yet. We mess up all the time,
and we love to share it with you. So now, getting back to our fabulous guest.
Now should be the reveal.
Yes, now is coming the reveal of Mariann Aalda, you know, who, again, I know her. She is a dear, dear friend of mine. I do want to start with how I know Mariann. And as I've mentioned, I've taken Toastmaster meetings. I'm in Toastmasters. We chartered a brand new club together, Speaking Your Business Toastmasters. We have had other interviewees from that club as well. It's an amazing club. But
you've made so many amazing connections of all kinds of different people. So we always talk about networking and how important it is. And I'm just in awe of your networking skills. But go on.
Speaking of being in awe, thank you. I am in such awe of Mariann. And there were these two dynamic women, both Mariann and Alicia Cole, who I hope to have on another episode down the road. But these two women were they blew me away from the very beginning. You know, when you really get to know Mariann, if you don't know her already, and you hear her today and you hear some of the stuff that she does, you can tell she's very poised and she's a great speaker. And, you know, it was kind of like when she came into Toastmasters, she was already a polished speaker. So, you know, when you take Toastmasters, it doesn't have to be entry level, never spoke before. Everybody who comes to Toastmasters is working on that craft and practicing, and there's always room for improvement.
Or they're also just love it. Some people love to do it, and it gives you an opportunity, right?
For whatever reason you join, it helps in the long run. Mariann Aalda is amazing. You know, she has been obviously an actress on many films, and one of the first African-American daytime soap opera heroines as attorney DiDi Bannister on Edge of Night.
Edge of Night.
Yes, I think that was her big breakout role, but she had been acting before that. And you hear her TED Talk and all of the amazing things she's done, then you will hear her full story.
I watched her TEDx talk last night. You must watch it after hearing this.
She makes me want to do a TEDx a talk as well.
Future aspirations.
Yes. But, you know, Mariann has also, she's done such amazing things, and she's been in so many great films, including The Royal Family. I believe I even heard she was on The Wiz at one point, which I love that film. I watched that as a little girl.
I did, the musical.
And there's just been so many. Sunset Beach, First and 10, Guiding Light, Designing Women. I remember that. I remember seeing you on that. So many amazing things. But then even after all of that, she started to, get involved in this whole ageism thing. And she's going to tell us more about
that. I got old is what happened. So, you know.
and the Hollywood stigma and the Hollywood stigma. And I want you to share all of that in just a minute. But you know what's also great is she's becoming a representative for AARP, and they call her the Age Disruptor.
Oh, I love it.
She has a commercial with them that she does. It's just so many amazing things. And like I said, you really do impress me. I aspire to be like you, Mariann. You're an amazing woman. Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to mention all of that. So I'm reading this because I love how you say this. She's been a wife, ex-wife, mom, stepmom, mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, nana, caretaker daughter, and uterine cancer survivor. Wow. She's every woman, and she really does represent so many things, which is why it's so special that we have her on today's episode. So Mariann Aalda, everybody.
Who me? Where is she? Where is she? Oh, right. Okay. Hello.
Yes, there's so many amazing things, Mariann.
Okay, I want to make sure you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, totally.
Is my volume good? Okay, good. Okay, so so how do I follow that? Okay, you mentioned that I kind of got into this ageism thing. No, the ageism thing pursued me.
Yes,
because after having I had a great career in television for 30 years. And then I hit like 50, early 50s. And suddenly the casting director stopped calling. I mean, they just, they can do the math. So no matter what I looked like, they knew how old I was. And so they just stopped calling. And I think actors have a natural curiosity about human behavior and motivation. So, and during various times in my life, I had been in and out of therapy, because I think whenever you have a problem to solve, it's good to talk to someone who has some credentials and can give you different insight than your friends can. They can be a lot more objective. So the Hypnosis Motivation Institute is like up the street down in Tarzana. And I have a friend who was a hypnotherapist, and she invited me to, come and audit a class. And immediately I gravitated to the process of it. So anyway, I'm a big proponent of hypnosis because it just kind of gets in there, it goes to the subconscious mind. You don't have to talk about it, and you just go and it's done. And just personally, I had a mother, grew up with a mother who today she would probably be diagnosed as bipolar, because I didn't know when it's like, oh, what am I gonna get when I come home from school? Am I gonna get cookies and milk or yelled at?
Yeah.
And as much as I done therapy and worked on myself, and there was just some kind of little nagging, I think, kind of sadness or disappointment if things happened. I think they affected me more deeply. And I had hypnotherapy, and I remember waking up one morning, I think it was after my third session, and I woke up and I thought, wow, this is what it must be like to be normal. And it's like,
what age was this that you did this?
I was in my 50s. I was like 51, 52, 53. This is my diamond jubilee year because I turned 75 in May.
Dang, you look so gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's
So
amazing.
vanity is my friend. Yes. So I became a hypnotherapist, and
so you became a hypnotherapist?
Yes, I became a hypnotherapist.
And so you
Yes,
did
I
this
did.
after, and you stopped acting, or you were doing both at the same time?
No, I didn't stop acting. They stopped calling me, and I still had to make a living. So what was I going to do? So I think you should always follow your instincts and do something you love.
Okay.
So I thought, well, I can't do this now. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be plan A or plan B. If you can work it out, it should be plan A or plan A.
Yeah.
I'll take this plan A or this plan A.
Were your kids grown at that time, or were they still in the house? Or
I have one, and he was away. He was gone.
Okay.
He was gone. He was in school. My son, I turned 75 in May. My son will turn 50 in next January.
Okay.
So I'm telling him that, he's going to be 50, I'm going to be 75. I said, we should do something exciting together. Like I thought, like maybe jump out of an airplane. He said, no.
Oh my gosh.
He said, no.
I have a January baby too.
He said,
so you were acting full time as a mom with one kid at home. So
yes.
How did you manage? Just a quick word on that, because I'm always fascinated with like the mom work ethic. How it all went down, but how was that in TV? It's a lot of hours, right?
No, not so much. Sometimes that's why I love comedy. I love comedy. 4-camera, multicam on a soundstage, like with Designing Women or Family Matters, which I did. The old school comedies, which are kind of coming back now, because those are really good hours.
Yeah, it's really scheduled, right?
Yes, scheduled. You're in at 10, you're out by 4, you come back, you do a table read, you go down to the set. It really is. That's why I love comedy. Now I have done our drama. Ooh, sometimes 18-hour days.
Wow. Yeah.
And a lot of downtime where if you're a guest cast, if you're regular cast, you're probably out there on the set running and doing stuff all the time. But if you're a guest cast, you spend a lot of time in your trailer.
Yeah.
In your trailer, and then you got to get the energy back up and do a scene, and then you're back in your trailer again.
Yeah.
So at this time in my life, I am asking the television gods to give me a sitcom, nice little ensemble sitcom. Bring me back in.
Awesome.
The cranky something, or the va-va-va-voon something. The auntie name, whatever.
So the itch is still there. The actress is still.
Right. They never leaved you. I don't think you choose to be an actor. I think it's
it is who you are.
It is who I am. As a matter of fact, I nobody in my family is in show business. And I used to think that there was something wrong with me. I thought maybe I had the need to act because of my childhood or things. I thought maybe I thought, oh, what's wrong with me? And then I discovered Carl Jung in college. And Carl Jung says, and this is true, that we are genetically predisposed with certain abilities. So that, and then I looked at my parents and where I got that from. My dad is you know, civil rights activist, all that stuff. And then my mom, as crazy as she was hilarious. She had a sense of humor, she was smart, and she was funny. And so I thought, well, I got this from them. What do I do with this? Well, I should be an actor. And when you know that you're doing the thing that's right for you, it just feels right. And the thing about it is that when it feels right, you have to, I say to any young, you know, people that, you know, who ask me advice about being an actor. And I say, I always tell them, if there's something else that you can do, then do that. If you have a passion for something else, do that. Because if you don't really have a passion for it, then you won't be able to go the distance. Because in a career, there's a lot of ups and downs and ups and downs. And so, like I said, I didn't quit acting quit me. So I became a hypnotherapist. Most of my clients were women who were experiencing midlife depression. They were in their late 40s, early 50s. Some, you know, their nests were emptying. They have money and, you know, a lot of them successful husbands, but they were really depressed. They had a lot of stuff going for them, but they didn't know what to do. And I realized that we as a society and culture have been hypnotized into believing that women lose value and social and sexual currency as we get older. Because of the images that we see in the media and in film and television. And the funny thing is that actors are highly suggestible. So the positive suggestions I gave to my clients, of course, took root in my own subconscious mind. And I had to walk my talk. I couldn't tell women to do what I was not willing to do myself. My very first solo show I did at the HMI auditorium, and it was called Snap Out of It. You've only been hypnotized into believing you're over the hill.
Wow. So it's a comedy show, stand up.
Yes. You know, that's so I that was my first solo show.
Where do you live?
Right now I am sort of in intracoastal. I'm in Chicago right now.
Oh, okay.
I had moved back to New York. My sister said, you know, I could use some help with mom. So I moved to New York. She said, because I know you can still do your career here. No. My sister, they were living on Long Island. I thought, I cannot leave this woman alone to go into the city for an audition. So that's when I started doing stand-up, because my sister would come home from work. I would take her Long Island Railroad pass and I'd go back into the city. And I started studying with Linda Smith at Caroline's in New York. And I remember I was terrified because, you know, when you're an actor, you're playing a character. When you're doing stand-up, it's you. And
totally different.
It's a totally different. And so at first I was like, oh my God. And I think there was a part of me that was an actress playing the part of a stand-up comic.
Totally.
That's how I did it. And then it kind of kept me removed from the audience. So then I did something really, really smart. And if you're stand-ups, listen to this, because this is, I made the audience my scene partner.
Oh, that's cool.
I made the audience my scene partner. So I would look into the audience instead of creating a fourth wall. I would look into them, I would engage with them more. And I would, even if there were a lot of times they were my silent scene partner, but they were giving me something. So I was more fully present on stage.
So you put
So-
yourself in it. You weren't
Yeah.
like removed from it. You were a part of it now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
connected it.
It's like
Yeah.
we're in this together.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Did you stop doing hypnotherapy once you went on Long Island, or?
Yeah, I pretty much stopped. Another thing is that, and this is something that I learned in my training, is that I am a high empath, which means I was taking on too much of other people. I was taking on their problems, and it was not good for me emotionally. Because I would want to help people. Let me rescue you, let me save you, which I also did in my marriages, which is I've been divorced twice.
And a lot of moms are doing that with their kids, which pulls them away from being able to pursue things for themselves. I mean, there's always that balance. So to get in a career of that is a lot.
Yeah. Well, the thing about acting though, when I was living in New York, and my son was 8 when I was on Edge of Night. A lot of times I would take him to auditions with me. If I got a theater gig, I would take him to rehearsals with me. I mean, I would just, and then I was available a lot of the time, for field trips and stuff like that, and to be a homeroom mom or, come in and stuff like that. And it's funny when I got Edge of Night and there was some event coming up at school. And like my son was so used to me being there. It's like, well, you're not going to be there. So I said, well, Chris, I have to work. I'm on this TV show. And he said, you mean you have to go back there again? Because he was used to me doing like commercials. You work a day here, you work a couple days there. It's like, you have to go back there again. And I said, well, yes, because I'm on a TV show now and I'm going to be a regular. I said, I'm on TV. And he said, so are all of your friends. Like that was no big deal to him. That was really no big. And then when as DeeDee, I started getting recognized. It was just, he'd be like, oh God, here we go again. He wasn't that crazy about that. It's like, yeah, that's my mom. That's your mom. Yeah. When I came on, it was Calvin and DeeDee on Edge of Night, and Angie and Jesse on All My Children. And they were back-to-back ABC shows. So we were ABC's Love in the Afternoon. That was part of Black Love in the Afternoon.
Wow.
And what I have this, because DeeDee played a professional, a lawyer. And
wait, how was that for your son? Did he see you like kissing other guys and stuff on these shows and stuff? That had to be crazy.
I don't think he watched much.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's like, he didn't watch much. Although when Calvin and DeeDee got married, he was the ring bearer.
I was just going to ask you that. That's awesome.
And the crew was really great with him because we would have events and stuff like that. I would drag him along. Once we had a celebrity softball game, and I am really not good with, give me some music and choreography. I'm good. Give me a bat and some equipment. Not so much.
Not me either.
So
Ariella still sometimes calls basketball practice rehearsals.
Yes.
I'm like, what? I'm like, are we in the second act? And my husband like, yes, we're in the second act. But anyway, go on. Yeah.
So I remember that Butch and Glazy, I'm giving you a shout out, Butch, was the boom guy, and he was the captain of our softball team. And so we had this game, and I was like out in the out. They put me way in the outfield, and I still couldn't. Oh, the ball is coming! No. And Chris, my son, was on a little league team, and he really went to get in the game. And he was bugging Butch, and he said, and I said, well, Chris wants to get in the game. I said, Trent. He said, no, let the kid get in the game. He can take your spot. He couldn't be any worse. Yeah. So then it was like, yeah, I'm one of the guys. It's good.
Oh my God.
Mariann, I love that you have constantly reinvented yourself. And there's so many great things that you're doing next. I saw you're up next on your website, and you're working on a book. You're working on showbiz memoirs for your life in Hollywood. A Little Color Girl Goes to Hollywood. You're working with TMZ. You're working with a book adaptation of my solo show as told to me by
Dr. Ginger. She's my performance art character, and her, she is an adult sex ed evangelist and mojo motivator.
Yes. You really tie a lot into everything you do, Mariann. I've listened to some of your comedy. I've listened to which we'll talk about in a minute, but your Clubhouse, we'll talk about that in a minute. And it's just amazing. I love everything that you're doing.
Well, it seems like you're constantly pivoting. So now you're in Long Island and your mother is sick and you're doing stand up at night. You kind of put the hypnotherapy down. And so now what happens from that point? How old are you then?
I had my 60th birthday.
Okay. So you're 60 years old. So many women are like done at 60. They're done. And it's like you are reinventing. And I love it. I love it. So many people just give up the dreams, so keep going.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the big key is to have one. Some people don't have dreams, or they push it down, or they don't pay attention, or they say that's not practical, or I can't do that.
Yes.
And
or their family or friends tell them they can't do it and they believe it. You have to, if you feel it, you have to act upon it.
Yeah.
That's why it's really important to find your village.
Yes.
Find your village, find your community, find the people like you too. Yeah,
you too, Mariann.
We are the world. Okay. But find the people. My first ex-husband.
Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah.
Used to say, well, he was my college sweetheart, looks good, feels good, must be love.
Right, so your first husband, who is now your ex-husband.
Yes. My baby daddy.
Okay.
But we're still very good friends. We're still good friends. And he used to say to me, why do you always have to be so, big? Why do you always have to be so, like I was too much?
Yeah.
It's like, why do you have to always be too much? So I became less, and I thought, oh God. Then when I moved to LA, I have a village of 5 other women. There are 6 of us. Even though and Alicia is one of them. Even though I am not physically there, we are in contact with each other, like on a thread, a text thread, like 3, 4, 5 times a day. Did you see blah, 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 blah? Yes. Did you see? I mean, we practically watched the Grammys together, even though we weren't there.
Yeah.
And their personalities are just as big as mine is.
Yeah.
It's not like I have to be less of me so that they can stand out. We're all big personalities, and there's no jockeying for position. We just all take turns. It's very just organic. Yeah. So that's what's important. If you are with people that are saying you're too much or not enough, then you need to get some new people.
Mariann, I've been going through this a lot, and I feel like I've had kind of a renaissance in who I am. It's not even that I'm finding like a new person. I've decided to find myself again. And I've got, and like my hair, this is a perfect example. It's like, what is this crazy hair? I'm a mom in Woodland Hills sitting at a basketball game. I got crazy hair. It's like, there's something else that's bursting inside of me. I used to be an opera singer. I was an actress. And I'm, I have 5 children. I don't know if you know anything about me, and so I'm doing a lot of very normal stuff. I have to go to the grocery store. I got to get the stuff cleaned, all this stuff. But there's this creative thing bursting in me. And so this last year, I've just been letting it out. And I've noticed.
I'm gonna do a little. I'm gonna put in my little therapist hat and do a reframe, because you said, I'm a mom and I have this, and I'm doing a lot of normal stuff, but
okay.
There's no either or. There's and. It's all normal. It's all normal. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
And that's what I'm trying to do. So I started taking groundlings classes. I'm doing improv again. And
did you switch seats?
I did. I switched seats.
That was on yesterday's episode.
I switch a seat now. And, I'm doing it with a whole bunch of 20 and 30-year-olds, but I feel so comfortable because I feel like to take that first step back in was really hard. But now I've noticed, even when I'm with my kids and I'm out, I do a lot of funny things now, and I'm much louder than I used to be. And I'm just starting to feel very good. I'm like, oh, this is who I am. This is it. And I think my kids all see it, and I'm making podcasts, and I'm not apologizing anymore. I just want to be myself, And
good for you.
everything you're, and I'm now 51 and I want to live my fullest self for the rest of my time, and I don't want to apologize for it. So everything you're saying really rings to me.
Well, this is funny to both of you.
Yes.
Yeah. My son is going to be 50. I still get the eye roll.
I saw a post that you did. I don't know if it was his birthday. I saw a post that you did all about your son. And at the end, I remember you saying, yes, and he's rolling his eyes right now.
You still get okay, Mom. I mean, he will do that and he'll get the eye roll. But I also know there's a certain amount of pride that he takes in me being me. Because 100%. I'm different. I'm just like, I'm different. He's used to me now, but he's just like, that's your mom? It's like, yeah, that's me. He's kind of cool with that. And it's funny that when the pandemic hit, because my son lives in North Carolina. And when the pandemic hit, my daughter-in-law started a family Zoom, which we have continued. Used to be weekly and now it's gone to monthly. And we play trivia games.
Oh, good.
And my daughter-in-law's younger sister had just gotten married. And we were on, there's like Hollywood squares. There's a lot of these squares we're looking. And I made some little joke about the newlyweds. And it might have had a little sexual something in it. And my son is there and he's like this. And he looks up and he says, ladies and gentlemen, my mother. So
how do you?
Yeah. Which I wanted to also mention, because I left this one out, but perfect timing. You're also going to be working on a collection of things that's I highlighted this differently. And a little child shall lead them, stories of what my child had to teach me about being a good mom, a parent. A parent. Yeah.
Well, not only about being a parent, but we had to teach me about being a fully actualized human being. Through parenting him, I was able to reparent myself. And because I thought, the buck stops here. I'm not going to, everything that I felt was icky and that made me feel icky growing up, I wanted to make sure that I did not give that to him. So I remember he did something and he said, I didn't believe I did that. I'm so dumb. I said, no. You are not dumb. You're a very smart little boy. You did a dumb thing.
Right.
But you are too smart for that. So I don't expect you to do it again. So you do that, you reparent in that way. And one of the stories this is the first story in the Christopher story, and there are many. And this has happened when he was 4. He was 4 years old. My cousin Angie had come to visit us in New York. And she had her 2 sons. We had a great weekend because they were living in Arizona. And about 3 months later, phone call in the middle of the night. So I go, I'm picking up, I'm on the phone. Christopher comes out when I'm off the phone and I am crying. I remember what he was wearing. He had on a blue onesie with a little satin bunny and the little, the little plastic feet, and they were all crackly. He came up to me and he said, why are you crying, Mommy? What's the matter? And I thought, I said, Angie's died. She's gone. He came up to me. My hand was like this. He came up to me. He put his hand on top of my hand. He was 4 now. He said, don't cry, Mommy. You have to die so that you can live. Because if you didn't die, you wouldn't live.
Oh my gosh.
I get goosebumps every time I tell this story. And then he just turned around and he walked away.
Oh my God, the sage.
For a 4-year-old to say that. That's amazing.
And what I thought, and what the moral of that story is, what do we have to die to so that we can live? Sometimes it's negative thoughts, negative people, bad habits. What has to die so that we can fully live? And if there's one takeaway for anybody who's listening, take that away. What do you have to die to so that you can live?
Wow.
Oh my
And Mariann, can you tell us what your TED talk is about? I watched it, but if you want to tell us a little bit about it, because I want people to go watch it. And how did
And
you
the
end
link
up
will be
doing
in
it?
the link will be in this episode, by
Yeah,
the way.
you end up
Okay.
doing a TEDx talk.
Well, that's what I can't. That's how Teresa and I met,
Yeah.
because I had it in my mind that I wanted to do speaking. Specifically, I already had a solo show,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and
I want to do it too.
Yes.
Okay.
so I thought, and as comfortable as I am, I've done stand up and stuff like that, but speaking is different. Is different.
Yeah.
I'm a lifelong learner.
Yes.
I take classes, for everything. So of course I thought, well, I'm going to learn how to. I'm going to go to Toastmasters.
Yep.
Plus, our dear friend Alicia said to me,
Yes.
"You should come to Toastmasters with me."
Okay, I'm just gonna do a quick Alicia plug, real quick. I love what Alicia does too. And when I heard President Obama say, and my friend Alicia Cole in one of his speeches, I went, I know Alicia too. So
I know.
I love that moment.
All right, well,
I know.
Gotta follow through with that.
Yes.
Yeah, Alicia Cole, by the way, is a patient safety advocate, and she has quite a story to tell about.
Amazing story.
So I'm not going to go into that.
Yes.
But she is
Back to Mariann.
She is a patient safety advocate,
Yes.
and she does a lot of speaking engagements as a patient safety advocate.
Yes.
And because I am such a pro-aging advocate, she suggested that I develop that into speaking, which can also make a very good living.
Yeah.
Being a speaker pays a lot better than stand-up, boys and girls.
Yes.
If you're on the, unless you're Kevin Hart.
Right, yeah, of course.
or Ali Wong or Amy Schumer,
Yes,
or
yes,
one of those people.
But I'm sure they have other things that tie around their comedy that are bringing in a lot of money for them too.
Yeah.
So it's all about
they are, because they're on big stages now.
Yeah.
But when you're
multiple
in the,
streams of revenue.
when you're building that, where you're in the clubs and you're working your way up,
You're not making the money.
you're not making the money like raised Catholic, Protestant work ethic. I don't know how that works, but but so it's like, yes, we must do it. So hard work always came easy to me. Trusting and allowing, a little bit more difficult, but hard work. And I thought, always be willing to make sacrifice in the present for the future benefit. You suck it up now, future gain. Do the tough stuff, future gain. I was living in New York. I turned 60. It was my 65th birthday. I was working on my new solo show at Dixon Place in downtown New York. And I was on the A train, had to switch to the F train. I'm schlepping props and equipment and stuff, and I'm going to this thing to do this work. And I thought, that's okay, suck it up for future gain. And I thought, I used the B word on myself. I went, you are 65 years old. This is your future.
Oh, yeah. I was
You
just
know,
gonna say, at some point you gotta enjoy it too.
and I thought, this is your future. And I thought, okay, so what are you not? So I started being kinder to myself. And in fact, I moved back to Chicago, and my sister was going through a divorce, and I thought, I got to talk her off the ledge. I'm going to be there for my sister. There's just the two of us, and she doesn't have kids. And so I came back to Chicago. I said, I can give you 2 years, then I'm out. I'm going back to California. That's really my happy place. And almost 2 years to the day, we had our regular well woman exams. We were both diagnosed with cancer. She was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was diagnosed with uterine cancer. Well, I'm healthy, I exercise, I'm doing all the things that I'm supposed to do for myself. So I did a meditation, talked to my body, and I said, why is this cancer in my body? What's going on? The message that I got was, you are much kinder and forgiving of other people than you are to yourself. And I went, oh, I'm really tough on myself, aren't I? It's like, is it the way I was brought up? Is it because it's like, so I think it's a process. We're constantly learning and evaluating, because you think you're rolling along and then it's like, whoops, cancer, what? So I took that to heart. And so even when I think that I'm kind to myself, I'm a little bit kinder, because I always think I can do it. I can do it. Well, when you're almost 75, sometimes my body says, oh no, sit down, sit your ass down.
Sit
No,
your ass down.
sit
No.
down. So even the name of my production company is, I'm a sit my ass down comedy, because
that's great.
and the reason I did that is because when I was in New York, I tripped in a pothole and I broke my foot and I was in a cast. Oh, it was just horrible. I had a bone stimulator. It was just crazy.
Wait, so Mariann, say it again. I know you've said it, I think now twice. How old are you?
I'll be 75 in May.
Jeez. So you are, wow. I mean, your energy, first of all, you look amazing, right? Amazing. And I know you know that because I'm sure you hear it every day, right? So you've got gift with how you look, but it's also the energy within you. It's like it's like a 40-year-old mom and we're all talking, you know what I mean? It's like, not that I'm 40.
Not that we're 40, we're way over 40.
But you know what it is, when you are doing what it is that you love to do, you manufacture energy, you generate energy. It's when you're doing when you have to do the things that you hate, the drudge, that that's what weighs you down. And there's a movie, What the Bleep. Okay. Look, and I think it's on YouTube right now. I think you can watch it for free. And it's with Marlee Maitland. It's a story that's kind of wrapped around a documentary, or maybe it's the other way around, but she's going through something and they bring on these therapists, physicists, scientists, theologians, all these different people to comment about what she's going through. And one of these, I think he was a biochemist, he said that when the cells are regenerating, because we're all basically a pattern and we're just constantly regenerating ourselves. I think every 7 years we're a whole new thing. When our negative emotions distort our biochemistry, so that a cell may not be perfectly round, it's distorted. And so, and that affects your body, so it's these hormones and these things that we create in our body, they get distorted because our emotions have that kind of effect on us. So I always say that happy cells are pretty cells. So I'm going to keep that's the whole secret. It's like, if I look this way, it's from the inside out.
I love that. I love that.
I love that.
That and I drink a lot of water and I use moisturizer.
He even said to me the other night, he looked at me, he said, you look good. And he goes, no, he's like, I think everything you're doing in your life, I think you're happier and I see it on your face. And I was like, I actually feel like more complete now. I feel more myself. And he saw that. And I was like, I'll take that.
That's awesome. Everything that we've been doing together, it's, I think, generating lots of energy and lots of cells in us. And we're hoping to get these little cells to jump through the air and through the screen to all of our other little listeners here
out there,
and get the energy flowing in them too.
And you're so inspiring. I love talking to you.
I was like, we have to have Mariann on. and we have to fast track her. I mean, we are literally recording this now and releasing it like within just a couple weeks because we really wanted to fast track you to highlight what you're doing. And
also, as an African-American woman, we want to celebrate Black History Month and Black History mompreneurs, and Black African-American mompreneurs. I mean, I don't know how to say all the things we want to celebrate, but we want to celebrate you.
Yes.
And
Well, thank you.
that you are all of everything that's under you. You know, we all come from different things, and I just love it.
And she says it. I said it read it earlier in this episode. She's every woman. She really is. Yeah. We did. That's going to be our reel.
Yeah. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, and I love your t-shirts too, and your messaging that you have about aging shamelessly.
Yes.
So
Yeah, that's like, if anybody wants to follow me on Instagram.
We all want to follow you. I already did this morning.
Oh, okay. It's Mariann Aalda _aging shamelessly, because and I've started a campaign on Instagram. So guys better get on the campaign.
yeah,
And it
we
is
will all be on there. As soon as we hit off, we will be on there.
okay. It is at say your age _loud and proud.
Oh, I love it.
And I ask women to, just DM me a picture and their age. And if you want to put a little, like 50-word bio about, what you're doing, you can talk about, your podcast on there. And to say your age, and I put their age on it, because we have to take the shame out of getting older. It's like people say, well, I'm a woman of a certain age, or they're trying to be coy and stuff like that. It's internalized ageism.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why are we embarrassed to say our age? We need to put it out there. And so the women come out and it's funny because the women who have, decided to do this, it's empowering. We take our power back. This is one of the reasons why, as an actress, I started doing my own solo shows and doing my own thing, because a lot of the scripts that I have been getting, it's starting to change, I think, a little bit. A lot of the scripts that I get, if for women over 70 or even over 60, she's either crippled, curmudgeon, or crazy.
Yeah.
There's something wrong. These
crazy neighbor.
And so when people tell me, oh, but you don't look your age, I go, yes, I do. I do look my age. We're just not used to seeing this. So, and this is what I want to represent.
Love it.
It's like, even in my comedy, I do not do self-deprecating humor about, oh, this is bagging and this is sagging. Oh, no.
I love your humor.
Yeah.
I love your comedy.
Yeah.
And we hadn't talked about it yet, but another place to find Mariann is on Clubhouse. And Mariann and I both are on Clubhouse. Can you really quickly, because I know I know you've got to get going too soon, but can you quickly tell us about Clubhouse?
Yeah, I want to hear about it.
Yeah, I have a club on Clubhouse, the Aging Shamelessly Club.
Okay.
And every Tuesday at 6 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern time, I run a 1 hour room with Elise. She is Mystic Flavor on Instagram.
And this is audio, not video, right?
It's all audio. It's all audio.
It's almost like a Zoom meeting, but without the video.
Yeah,
because we're all meeting in a room. We're able to talk. We're able to get pulled up on the screen.
Yeah,
is it on your computer or is it on your phone? Is this
on your phone? It's an app. It's an app on your phone. You can download Clubhouse app on your phone. And anyway, and we conduct a weekly rooms, a discussion about aging well. Sometimes we'll talk about fashion. Sometimes we'll talk about discrimination on the job. We just talk about different things, and it is a fabulous way to connect. I've built a community there, and a friend of mine who does voiceover said, honey, I think you should get on Clubhouse. I've gotten work out of Clubhouse.
Wow.
There is a new Hollywood room, and I went in there and I announced who I was, and they said, and these young people, they're in their 40s, they're young to me. Some of them were talking about how they used to watch me when they came home from school. And
that's cool.
And there was one young man, Gino Brooks, who has a production company, and he said, you should be working. I'm going to look out for you. And he did. Like 6 months later, he offered me this role. And in California, they, flew me out there and everything. And I did this. And it's a little short film. It's called Gumbo, and it is now on AMC's all Black streaming network. they did 8 short features, and it was for underrepresented writers and directors. And the non-binary woman uses the pronouns they, was in her 20s. I think she's 29 when she wrote it. And so Gino offered me the role, and he told me, and I said, well, you know, I have to speak to the writer director first, because you can hire me as the producer, but that's not really fair.
Yeah.
So he scheduled a Zoom. We're on the Zoom. I went online and I found out all the things that she had to say. She said, as a queer Black woman, it was important to her to see more positive representation.
Yeah.
In this script, the character that I play is, when you first see her, it says she's 60 years old. She's got health issues. And when you see her, she opens the door and she's wearing a muumuu.
A
muumuu, yes. Oh,
60-year-old wearing a muumuu.
yeah.
I said, so we're on this Zoom, I'm having a conversation with her. I said, so, well, it's up to you whether you hire me or not. I said, but I read what you said about being a queer Black woman and the importance of positive representation. I said, honey, I'm an old Black woman, and it's really, and the positive representation is important to me too. So I said, 60? That's not old. And so I said, and I think at the time I was 73, 74. I said, can she be 73, my age? He said, yes, ma'am. I said, okay. I said, and a muumuu? Really? I said, can she be wearing yoga pants, a tank top, and a kimono? She said, yes, ma'am. I said, you got it.
Awesome.
And when we were on the set, she said that conversation lingered with her, because when we are even marginalized groups don't realize how they actually marginalize older people.
Yeah.
Which is ironic, because it's the common denominator for everybody. I don't care what your age is, I mean, what your ethnicity is, your gender is, your religion is. Everybody's gonna get old.
Yeah, if they're lucky. If
they're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely. Right. Oh, it's been amazing, Mariann. And so I also want to mention on Clubhouse, you can go and you can find some of these recordings of live shows she's done on Clubhouse.
Okay.
So
the replays.
When you go in, Clubhouse keeps it like making updates and changes, but now you can listen to previously recorded stuff. Whereas before it was just really live.
Well,
and
maybe
so
we'll do a Clubhouse.
I keep telling you about Clubhouse. So we're going to have to dive into Clubhouse a little bit more.
I can tell you something real quick. I know we have to end, but I think you'll get a kick out of it. So in my improv class that I take with all these very, very young people, on the first day of class, I actually introduced myself and I said my age, and I said, I am a 51-year-old woman. I just want you to know that I said, I am not a tired looking 40-year-old. I am a fabulous looking 50-year-old. And I wanted to own it from day one, because I know they were all kind of shocked that I was there. Why was I there? And but now, like, well, I'm in another level. I'm not even mentioning it anymore. I'm just uncomfortable now. So it took me a second, but I just I'm happy to say how old I am.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna get older. And when I make videos, you're gonna see that I'm older. And if you look at videos from 10 years ago, I do look younger. You know, it's like, but I'm still gonna make the videos.
We need to get rid of that word still. You still do that? I do that. Yes, thank you very. I do that. Yeah, thank you very much.
And I'm wiser now too. So
yeah, it's part of the journey.
Yeah,
it's part of the journey. I mean, age. I think we should stop thinking of age as a noun. You're 5 years old. You're 10 years old. You're that age, or an adjective, the descriptor, and think of age as a verb. We age. It's fluid.
Next year will be another decade for me. And this next year, it happens to align with the Paris Olympics. The day of opening ceremonies will be my birthday. So that is what I want to do this year, next year. Sorry. I keep throwing that into the universe that I'm going to go on this trip. But it makes me think back when I was turning 30, and that was decades ago. But when I was turning 30, I kept saying to myself, still 29. And I was still like, I'm not going to be upset about being 30. I'm just going to celebrate the fact that I'm still in my 20s. And I did that for weeks. And then midnight hit on my birthday and I started bawling, I'm 30. And because I tried to take it in a sense of, I'm just going to celebrate life now. But then the second that, clock turned, the next year age, it hit me, and all of a sudden I felt like, well, wait, I'm not celebrating anymore. I'm now 30, and of course, decades later, I've learned that not to do that anymore. Don't celebrate the past. You got to celebrate the future, because there's so much more we could be doing, so much more life to live, and enjoying it. And like you said, the energy, I just love the energy in this Zoom room with the three of us ladies here. I think we're, all pretty amazing women, and it's just been so privileged and special to have you on today, Mariann. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I've had a good time.
Yeah, and we're going to just we're going to put all your links in the descriptions, and we're going to put a lot of information on our Facebook page about you, and we're just going to stay connected. When you do new things, we will announce it on our Facebook page, because I think our audience is going to want to follow you, because you're just an awesome person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
And we like to end our shows with a little tagline, follow your dreams. So we will, all three of us say on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Follow your dreams.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Mom and Tom, two passionate and busy moms sharing the quest to achieve entrepreneurial success.